Hi there. Welcome to another episode of Gecko Pico's Twilight Zone, which we're all in, and I'm sure you can relate to that. Today, I'm a bit beyond writing. I'm not beyond writing. I love writing. I keep writing. I can't stop writing. There's too much to write, but sometimes it's easier to say it in words. And so today I thought I would just share with you a couple of slides from my microscope that I've had sitting there for a little while, and just have a little chat about them. We had 2 months off here in Mildura of chemtrails, and in that time I think I was probably the lowest amount of V2K, and on top of that was also a lot less attacks. My mood was better generally. We're getting lovely blue skies, sun, and there was some heat. We had a bit of a heat wave, but the difference to me is just massive. I can go outside and then come back in without feeling like my whole skin is radiating static, because the beam steering, the way that works, it basically enlivens these particulates on and inside the body. And so that's what we're looking at the moment. I had this one patch on my back that kept on feeling like someone was pressing in there, and I got some help from a friend, and my good old little mate here, this one's which I've told people about recently, DMSO. You got to be careful with it because it makes anything that you combine with it will absorb into your skin, but you can use it topically. So I just tend to grab a tissue like so, fold it up so it's nice and flat, and then I just get that little number, yeah, and then just add some of that, just like that, just up in the bottle. And then I get my hydrogen peroxide 3%, which I always have in a spray bottle here, and just spray that onto the area. And what happens is that area then, say if you've got some kind of sensation on the skin that seems to be weird, and then you can just rub it over, but make sure you clean yourself first. But what you'll notice is when you do that, that that goes hot. So the action of the sulfur in the DMSO and the oxygen coming together actually produces a chemical reaction that's heat. It's not like a chemical hot, it's a real heat. So it's generated from those two coming together. And that's that oxygenation and the sulfur all soaking in, and that's why it can get rid of stuff under the skin. As I said, make sure you've got a clean surface to work with. Clean wherever you go in first. Do it nice and then go over it with that. And if you chuck that under the microscope, you'll see all the particulates that come off, like this little number that they come off my back that we're looking at right here, this little strand, just earlier. So it's just using that process, and then I've just taken that tissue that I've wiped and I've chucked it under the microscope, and I found this little beauty. He's like nearly a millimetre long, this guy, which is long in context. Like they're usually often only this sort of size. And they are like antennas. They pick up the microwave, the MIMO, the beam steered stuff. It's targeted at us. It's not just picking up ambient. People need to realize that. I think a lot of people don't understand the way mobile phones work, but we are just like we're treated like a mobile phone. In fact, parts of our body are treated like separate, like mobile phones, you could say. And they can target any part of that, and enliven these areas with beam, and that's what we're feeling often. Those sensations on the skin, or under the skin. These things can get in to your body because if you breathe them in, then they get into your bloodstream if they're small enough. The little particulates, which are more like, they look like grains of dust even, or even smaller that you can't even see. This guy looks like a dusty particle that you'd float on the air and gets all up in your nose and up in your ears and all that sort of business. Contributes to your V2K if it's up in your nose because it makes it all conductive up here, right? That's how that works. Pulsed electromagnetic energy, pulsed at the rate that you want. So say it's sending it, say in gigahertz, it might be a high 2.44 gigahertz, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But if you pulse that down at 100 hertz, you'll get a 100 hertz tone in if you've got it in here and you're pulsing this 100 hertz, it's going to create like a physical vibration in that from that, because you're like hitting these things, and it'll simulate the same sort of thing as hearing a sound, and that's how our V2K. That's how I believe our V2K works. So it'll still work without them because we're water and we still respond. We're still conductive, still respond to that that pulsing, stop starting frequency. Okay, and that's also why you can record it, because there's actually a physical vibration, even though it's trace. You can amp it up and you can hear that because there's actual physical vibration happening from the skull or from those impacts. All right, cool. Moving on. Where are we? So we're on the right direction here. Which way am I going? Yeah, these are more little strands. These are little wipes that I've done off. So I've gone outside after the chemtrails and I can always feel it when I've done that, and I always go, wow, it feels like my arm's like all electrified, you know? And I'll get out. That's what that is just one of these little earbuds here. And I just wipe that, dip it in water, and then just wipe that over the surface. And then I've chucked that under the microscope, and here's what I found. What do you know? Black strands again. There's also these little brown ones. They might be dust or dirt, I don't know, but some of them might be something else, who knows? They might be sending fungus onto us or all kinds of crap. So there's a fungus among us. And so anyway, you get the idea. You get the gesticle, and there's some more just examples. Some of these have come off the skin, off the body. Others have just been wipes of a table. So this is like a wipe of a table, I think. I've just wet it and just wiped along the table, just one wipe along the table, inside, not outside, and here we are. Bingo. Wow. Well, what do you know? There's electrical conductive fibers everywhere. These guys, you put them in water, they don't swell up. They're just carbon, metal doped carbon, a lot of them. They can have whatever. You could put, because these are micro, they're not nano, micro scale, you could put stuff inside these as tubes. If they're a micro tube, then you could put nano inside the tube, and then you could radiate it and make that stuff come out, right? Wait till it's in the right location. So say you breathe it in, and then they hit you with the frequency, it releases. It could release toxins, it could release viruses, it could release drugs, it could release all kinds of things. So you start to get the idea of how this stuff can be used, you know, like a container, right? To carry whatever you want, you know? Yeah, let's keep going. Yeah, it's a nasty little one, isn't it? I can't even remember where that one came from. I think I picked that up off a table or something as well. Unbelievable. Some of them. Look at that. Filthy. Yeah, now these are some stuff like I've ripped out of my ears and that, and so it's like there's some clear polymer that's holding it in. I've got some excellent ones of this stuff coming up actually over here. Let's just get to that actually, because I think it's the most interesting ones. So, oh yeah, this is a bit nasty looking because it's like my nail and stuff, but I got this amazing stabbing pain right under my nail, like all through, it went right down my finger, and I was like, ow! And I've gone in there and I've just scraped this out with my other nail, like just put my nail in and scraped it out, and that's what was on the end of it. So these pains that you're getting, these stabbings, they often are just surface things. Like people have to, I mean, yeah, I don't think some people realize that. They think that their brain's being hacked and they're doing the triggering here, but no, there's a lot of what I call smoke and mirrors going on as well. There is all the brain stuff, yes, I don't know, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on as well. These guys they want to seem all powerful. They're like the guy behind the curtain in Wizard of Oz, yeah, as one of my readers, one of my dear readers. Who was that? Was that Yolissa maybe, or I can't remember, and so someone mentioned it anyway, and yeah, thank you. I'm going to find out who that is, and I read a lot of messages. Okay, so where are we going? I don't know what that is. Oh, I'm going forwards, backwards. These are good ones. So my ears grow this thing. Oh, there's some gross things in here. Eh? Yeah, these things. And I saw this thing on Morgellons disease recently, and they had pictures, and I'd already pulled these off and taken these photos, but the pictures they were showing, they were calling them hearts. And what this is inside my ear, there's been this little lump growing right in the center of, so there's the hole, it's just back from the hole. So if I'm going like that, I'm putting my finger directly on it. So it's in there. And I rip this thing out every day. It's only on my right ear and it keeps growing back. And so I often was getting in there just with my nails and just grabbing it and just picking the thing off. And this is what it was looking like. And it wouldn't bleed. This is the thing, like it'd bleed maybe just in the center, but all this around the outside is like a polymer. It's like, and when it's oozing, like it would stop bleeding. I wouldn't be getting blood out of it. It would be pushing this clear liquid. And this clear liquid then sets, right? And I reckon that what this is some form of collagen, which is like a piezoelectric element. And it's natural within the body. But you can make this stuff vibrate because it's piezoelectric. Like you can send electricity into it, it'll vibrate, and vice versa. If you vibrate it, you'll produce electricity, right? So this is like a little bit of what I think is synthetic biology. How they're making it generate in our ears, like maybe they're altering cellular structures, kind of like what the concept of, this is where I get that tie-in with mRNA, right? I didn't have the jabs, but I did, you know, I've obviously been exposed somehow. And essentially, I think what's happening is that they actually get the cells to produce this stuff. And so that process I showed you with DEMSO, that I put that on there because I got sick of ripping these things out, you know, like I was like, why does this thing keep growing back? And it grows back in 2 days, man. I've got this lump in there again. And the amazing thing is I've used DMSO with the H2, the hydrogen peroxide 3%, in the same way as I just showed you before, and it just dissolves. Like this thing, like you have to pick it off like really hard. Like it's hard and it's like callous, and you have to scrape and really pull it off. And the DMSO just melts it instantly. You don't even have to rub. You can just place it on there and it just disappears. And my whole thickness of my ear just goes down back to normal. And so I strongly recommend the DMSO with hydrogen peroxide. It's amazing. I did the same thing on both ears because this one gets a thickness in it that I think is associated as well. And what I actually believe that to be is, again, piezoelectric elements somehow building inside the ear that and then you use the DMSO and it just disappears. And your V2K goes down and, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just sharing with you what I'm experiencing. Okay, so where are we now? 13. Okay, keep going. So yeah, those little numbers, look at that. And look, there's one of those strands as well in it to give you a context to scale. There's blood there, there's blood there. I found this in my blood. Can you believe that? Like, I don't know what the fuck that is. Excuse my language. I've got no idea, but it worried me to see it. Anyway, so let's not talk about that. Anyway, I think that's about all I wanted to share there. What have we got? Yeah, I'm not going to stop right on 13:33. Well, yeah, I hope everyone's been good. And I just thought I'd just share a bit of this and that today. Oh yeah, I've been working on a few different ways for blocking and stuff, but I might actually save that for another video and just keep this one short. All right, cool, ciao.